My entire life up until the age of 19, I've always been the skinniest of all my friends. I even tried working out between 15 and 17, but gave up because I couldn't put any weight on or make any progress in the gym, despite trying absolutely everything I could. Researching, trying to eat loads of food until I'd feel absolutely sick. I trained with the most intensity I could. I remember doing like 10 sets of bench press to failure in a desperate attempt to try and grow my extremely flat chest that I was very insecure about. But no matter what I did, I could not do it. So I know very deeply how it feels to be a hard gainer. So in this video, I'm going to get into everything I did, everything that was required over the last 5 years of bulking to overcome my natural difficulties with gaining any weight at all, muscle or fat. There are 4 main reasons why you're not going to be gaining any weight or muscle. And it's simple as this. You're not eating enough calories. You're not eating enough protein. You're not progressively overloading enough. So AKA, you're not making it harder and harder for yourself in the gym to force the adaptation. And the 4th thing is you're not sleeping or resting adequately. But I know you probably all heard this before. You know all of these things. I knew all of these things at the time. I'm going to talk about what I actually did to apply these things, because it's easy in theory. You know you have to eat loads of calories. You know you have to eat enough protein, sleep and rest and train hard, obviously. But how do you actually do that? So what I think the most fundamental thing you have to understand is working out is a science. It's a biological reaction in your body. It's a biological process. The better you can control the variables and measure them, the better the scientist you can be. The better you can be at your experiment, optimizing your ability to gain muscle. So I think the most fundamental thing, which is what I did exactly from the day I started again at 19, is I tracked everything. How much I weigh every day, how much I ate, which was very, very, very key, because out of these 4, I think people like me at least, who are very skinny naturally, 90% of the reason people aren't gaining enough weight or aren't gaining any weight is because they're not eating enough food. So you need to have a target in terms of calories, calculate your RDI, put in, so I use this app called Fat Secret, and I'd put in my target, and then I'd aim to eat between 3,700 and 4,000 calories every single day. And often it would require me eating right up to bedtime, eating loads of food, and it also required me to work out which foods have a greater caloric density, which is another really key thing that I didn't properly understand the first time I tried when I was 15 to 17, is really understanding which foods get the most bang for your buck, which foods have the most calories for their weight and volume. So which foods will give you the most calories while filling up the least, because you've only got so much space in your stomach. And if you're like me, you need all that fucking space. You need everything you can to work in your favor. You can't waste any space in your stomach because you're just stuffing yourself every day. So I tracked my weight every morning. I tracked my calories every day. I tracked every single workout I did to do progressive overload. So I had an Excel sheet to start, and then I converted to using a book, and I now do it in paper because then I like to write on it, like how I'm feeling, how did I sleep, all these other things. But regardless of the point, the most important thing for the 3rd reason, progressive overload, is you need to know what you did last session if you're going to be able to actually improve on it a little bit every time and force the adaptation. You can't just, it's impossible to remember everything you did last time. And you don't even need to look back to all these weeks before, although that's still interesting to do. You just need to be able to know what you did last workout so you can add 1 more rep or a little bit more weight or whatever. And that's the essential stimulus required to build muscle. Just walking back, and I had a couple of other things to say that I didn't actually say in the video, is that the power of recording everything you're doing really gives you the positive feedback loop to carry on inspiring you to carry on going and motivating you. Because a lot of the time you'll make such little progress that it's so hard to see it physically. And this was especially true when you consider training for 3, 4, 5 years. You actually could hardly see a difference in the mirror. And because it's so slow, you can't see it happening. But if you record all your weights, all your reps, and you see your weight going up and up, and you see your reps going up and up, that's undeniable proof that you've made progress. And that inspires you and motivates you to carry on going and going and going and push harder. And then you won't give up like I did, even though I don't think I was making hardly any progress. Perhaps I was making a little bit of progress, but not enough to keep me actually going for ages. And the beauty of the app that I have, Fat Secret, is you can look back to any date that you were and you see the exact amount you weighed. And you can also then look at photos that you took on the 17th of January and you can look at your exact weight. So you can see how much you weigh at whatever body weight. So also take progress pictures, because it's another way of tracking progress, inspiring you to carry on going, seeing how far you've come, etc. And then you can really see very specifically, how much weight you should be to be lean, how much blah, 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 blah. But going back to food, which is obviously the most important thing for someone who's a hard gainer, you need to work out foods that have a really high caloric density. So loads of butter I had. What is the best thing that I had in desperate times when I was running out of food, running out of time in the day? It would get to like 10 p.m. and I've only had 3,000 calories and I need 4,000 calories and I have a big meal, and I would fill up half a glass of olive oil and drink that, and you just get like 200 calories in a go. And what's good about that is olive oil is actually really healthy for you. It's one of the best, it's one of the healthiest foods around. It's not the same as like doing a dirty bulk, which is not what I did either. I didn't have loads of sugar and loads of crappy food and processed stuff. Although, you know, that might be what's required for you. I just had a shit ton of eggs. Every morning I had 8 eggs, and I used to have them scrambled, because I find 8 eggs and with loads of butter as well, scramble them, because they're just a lot easier to eat scrambled. They're less kind of eggy than if you have them fried, which is actually what I do now. I have like 5 or 6 fried eggs a day. So I love eggs, loads of meat, because you're trying to get a sufficient amount of protein, loads of cheese. I'd have these massive salads with 2 mozzarellas every day. Loads of nuts, loads of calories in nuts, and really healthy for you again. And that was actually the majority of my diet was just meat, cheese, nuts, and the fats, butter, olive oil, and those really have a great bang for a buck and don't take up loads of space. Like if you're trying to do the opposite, you want to have loads and loads of vegetables, which I do now. And that takes up loads of space in your stomach, but has hardly any calories. And you'd be absolutely shocked at how many calories are in sort of like broccoli, 100 grams of broccoli versus 100 grams of olive oil, something like 10 to 20 times the amount of calories. So you can imagine educating yourself on the types of foods that actually have loads of calories is extremely important. And what you want to do as well is work out foods that you like. Like look into all the foods. You'll be able to see it when you start tracking your calories on Fat Secret or whatever other calorie counting app you have. Assess all the foods that you like to eat. Put them all into the calorie measuring thing. And what you can do, what's so good on it, is you have a barcode. So you can just scan the barcode and then put in the weight on some scales and then put it in. And that way, you really get a proper understanding of how many calories you get per unit mass, per how much it weighs. And that is how you really curate your diet to make you get the most calories and most protein you can for how much space it takes up in your stomach. Then once you've got this understanding, you simply increase the proportion of the food items that you enjoy. And then you just eat more and more of these high caloric stuff and eat less of the stuff that you also enjoy that doesn't have as many calories. And that way you can eat the same volume of food or same weight of food, but shift the calories in a more favorable direction. So you're actually getting more than what you used to get. The final thing is, I was actually amazed until I got my Whoop, how much how much time I actually have to spend in bed to get 8 hours of sleep. It's something like 10.5 hours of time in bed. So that's something that always helps a lot. Really actually give yourself enough time to sleep. And I know that's difficult with a job or with work, or if you have school even, you have to get up early. So, but really understand that you need so much more time in bed than you think to get 8 hours of sleep. 8 hours from when you close your eyes to when you wake up is not 8 hours of sleep. You sleep for far less than that. And finally, how much to rest? Well, I would just go by this rule of thumb. Do not work out a body part that is still sore. As soon as the body part is no longer sore, go and work it out. And that's all I do. I don't follow a schedule that is like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I just work out as soon as that group of body parts is ready to be worked out again. And I know that when it's at least 95% not sore anymore. So for me, well, anyway, I'm not going to get into my whole workout routine, but you just don't work out when it's still sore, because if you're breaking down a muscle that's already been broken down, you actually will lose muscle, because all the time in which you actually build muscle is outside of the gym. You rip it up, and then you tear it up while you're at the gym, you tear up all these muscle fibers, and then all the time when you're not working out is the only time in which you're actually building the muscle. And if you're just ripping it down and not giving it time to rebuild stronger and thicker and whatever, you're just ripping it down, ripping it down, ripping it down, ripping it down, and you're not actually building any muscle, you're actually losing muscle. So that's a very important thing to understand as well. And just that's a simple rule of thumb to follow. Wait until your muscles are no longer sore, go again and repeat. And there you go. That is pretty much everything. A bit of a knowledge vomit, and I'm sorry if it's not very coherent and ordered, but there we are. If you enjoyed this video, check out this other video I made. If you like the video, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you next week. Peace.